Welcome to Pinehurst Racing. This is Sohcahtoa, trained by Robert Mills in Epsom. Now this is a gelding that we spent 6 months trying to purchase, and after a long negotiation we eventually managed to buy him in November 2010. It's a fantastic gelding by Val Royal. It's got the same sire as Cockney Rebel, who won the 2000 Guineas in 2007. Came to us from the Richard Hannon yard, and we bought him after a fairly long 2010 season, and we knew when we bought him he would need a well-deserved winter off to freshen up. And as you can see here, this is November 2010. He's still fairly well defined, and he's slowly settling down into his holiday here. Unbelievably, he's never had any injuries in his whole career. He's a completely sound horse. Here's Sohcahtoa in his box, and he's settling in nicely to his new surroundings here. It's December 2010. His coat's growing here. As you can imagine, it's fairly cold. He's got a nice winter rug on as well, and by the looks of it he's had a nice roll around in his bedding too. Now this is late December. As you probably remember, the snow came and training had to come to a stop. It was dangerous for horses to be out and about, and most yards in the country had the same problem. You can see the training stalls here. These are vital to get horses used to the scenario of the stalls at the beginning of their races, and again the snow here meant that all training had to come to a stop. Now when the main stable area was free of snow, they could get the horses out, but the main training areas were still covered in snow, and you can see here they use this automated walker to keep horses on the move. They need to be kept on the go, otherwise they stiffen up and lose any condition that you've put into them. And here you can see Sohcahtoa being installed into the walker. There's Richard Ryan here, the assistant trainer. He's wrapped up pretty warm. It's still fairly cold out, and being installed here, Sohcahtoa into the walker about half an hour at a time. They'll do in the walker just to keep them on the move. And Sohcahtoa loves this machine. He loves to be on the move, and if he had his way he'd definitely be going faster than this. And you can see here he'll come round, and he's very curious. He'll always have a look out the side to see what's going on. And Tristian there just having a look at Sohcahtoa in the walker with Richard Ryan, and it's good to keep him on the move. Now we're into January now, and this is the main area of the Robert Mills stable. They're just gearing up for a bit of light exercise, and we'd always had a plan of letting Sohcahtoa have a few months off here and slowly bring him back to peak fitness for the start of the 2011 flat season. And this is the Mills yard, an absolutely fantastic facility. There's very few stables in the country that have the facilities and means that they do, and after the hustle and bustle of the Richard Hannon yard, it's probably quite a different experience for Sohcahtoa. A much smaller yard, but he's really settled in well now. And like I said, it's January, and you can see Robert Mills there just organising everyone. He's just into some light exercise at the moment, and full training won't start for a couple of weeks. And Brocky, his regular work rider, is third in train there, and he's just getting ready for a bit of exercise. Now this is a few days later, and Sohcahtoa is just working with some juveniles here, just coming into the middle of picture now. There's Brocky, his regular work rider, and they're just doing some light exercise here, and we really felt like he needed to get used to following horses again and not run too keen. And this is the round gallop at the Mills yard. It's about 5 furlongs around, and we're now into February, and just some light walking and trotting on the agenda for a few more weeks. Now we're into mid-February here, and this is Sohcahtoa working with Grey Lamy. Now Grey Lamy is a solid mid-90 rated individual, and we're just keeping him in behind here. He always wants to go faster, but we've just got to keep tabs on him at the moment. It's a good 2 months away from his first race, and slightly fractious there, Grey Lamy. Highly strung race horses, and anything out the ordinary gets them a bit on edge, and we're a bit close to the path if anything. So they're just going round us here, but they're going to do a couple of circuits, just a bit of cantering, and keeping him in behind, and not getting too ahead of ourselves here. Brocky on board again. He's told us that due to keeping him reined in, he keeps his head carriage low, and he could benefit from a visit from the chiropractor. Now this is John Hankinson. He's a highly regarded equine chiropractor, and he's used by a lot of the top yards here, and it's amazing what he can do with horses, and it's amazing that he can get the horses this well settled. He's got a great manner with horses, and they allow him to manipulate them and there's not many people that would get away with this sort of treatment on a horse without the horse getting a bit upset, but he's got a great way with horses here, and he's just doing some light massage. Now John's going to just work on the hind leg here to start off with, and it's about manipulating muscles and joints into positions that they don't get into normally in their normal stride pattern, and just overextending here, and it releases tension in the muscles here, and again moving forward here, just stretching, and again Sohcahtoa seems very relaxed here and quite at ease. It's probably a fairly nice feeling, just extending the muscle here and manipulating them so that they improve on their movement. Now John's going to work on the other hind leg here now. He's going to extend upwards, and like I said, this releases tension. It gets the horses into a position that they wouldn't usually get into in a normal stride pattern, and extends their muscles so that it releases tension just like a normal human chiropractor would as well. And he's just manipulating here, moving his leg forward and stretching forward here, and it releases tension so that they stride out much nicer in their work, and allows them to cover more ground with a longer stride. And I think that side's slightly stiffer. He's spending a little bit more time on the other side there, and he's just stretching forward. It's not often that you see a rear hoof meet the top of his front leg, but it's releasing tension nicely. Now John's just going to work on his front legs here. This is the main area of tension. According to our work rider, he feels that he's very tense up at the front end. He's always carrying his head quite low due to not being allowed to go as fast as he wants to, and just being reined in all the time causes him to carry his head a bit low in his work, and he's a little bit stressed at the front end. He's just getting a little bit fractious there. He probably doesn't realise that this is going to do him the world of good here, and John just calming him down there. He's going to continue to work on his front leg here to fully release the tension, and the more tension there is, the more Sohcahtoa will feel it. He's just on his hind legs there. He's going to continue to try and stretch that out. This is probably the worst of the two sides here, and he's just continuing to stretch it out, become more comfortable the more he stretches here. And he's now going to stretch backwards. This will all mean that he'll stride out much better in his work, and ultimately work much better in his races as well, and run better. And again, he's just extending backwards. You can feel the tension there, and he's giving it a good bit of stretching here to release any stiffness that he's got in his front leg there. I was going to do the same with the other front leg here, and again this side is still stiff as well, and he's just extending upwards and sideways here, just feeling for any tension, any response from Sohcahtoa to say that there's anything particularly stiff here. And just side to side, he's going to work forwards now and pull his leg forward, stretch that tension out, and again just calming him down a little bit there. This side isn't as stiff, but he's just fully extending here. You can see the pressure applied, stretching his muscle out nicely. This will mean that he reaches further in his stride pattern when he runs, and ultimately will mean that we get a longer stride pattern. He'll cover more ground for the energy that he uses. And again, just settling him down here, and now he'll work backwards. It's amazing how they let him do this. He's really stretching him there backwards, and ultimately he will make a better racehorse. Now after this manipulation here, he's going to have the afternoon off, and he's going to work again tomorrow. We should see some improvement in his work. Now just before he goes, John's going to do a bit of work on his neck here. He can feel some tension in his neck, and it's all part of carrying his head too low through wanting to go too fast. And he's just going to get him relaxed here and then crick his neck. And Sohcahtoa is probably wondering what's going on here, but I can tell you it's going to do him the world of good. And he's just going to do the same to this side as well. It's just going to get him settled here. He's going to stretch his neck round this way, just when he lets him. And give it a crick here. And Sohcahtoa there, just wondering what's going on, but he's going to feel $1 million in the morning, and he's going to work much better in his work. This will probably happen a couple of times every month up until he first races, and he's just showing the stable girl here that he can feel the tension in the shoulders here up to his withers, and he's never seen Sohcahtoa run, and it's quite impressive that he instantly picks up on the stiffness at the front here, and just explaining how he's probably pulling himself along from the front, and he's done for another day here. He'll feel much better in the morning and do a nice piece of work. Just again explaining here where the tension was, and he'll be back in a couple of weeks to give him another go. Just giving a nice little kick there. He's full of energy. And this is a couple of days later. We're into March now. It's the beginning of March, and he's doing a nice bit of work up on the Epsom Downs, just doing half speed here, and he's working nicely. Still carries his head a bit low. He's learnt to settle now in behind, and they're really happy with the way that he's working. This is about 15 minutes later. They're doing another half speed here. They're just coming to the end of about 6 furlongs, and they're just slowing up here, but he's still full of running here, and Brockie's always saying that he wants to carry on going, but they're just having to rein him in and not allow him to get too ahead of himself. But you can see he's carrying his head low again. He wants to go further, and they're just struggling to pull him up there. He's working really nicely at the moment. We're about 4 to 6 weeks away from his first race. This is Sohcahtoa just after that breeze. He's still got bundles of energy. He's not happy with having to stop there, and he's slowly becoming more defined here. You can see in his hind leg there, you can see the definition coming through. He's definitely looking much more like a racehorse now, coming back into full training. And Richard Ryan there just speaking to the jockeys, finding out what they think, how heavy they're blowing, and how the gallop went. And they're extremely happy with the way things are going at the moment. He's still full of energy there, and still wants to do more, but I think that's it for the day today, and they'll get back to work tomorrow. I'll be giving you extra updates now. This is as far as we've got. This is up to the present day virtually, and we'll be giving you updates as we go along on the run up to his first race. We've earmarked a race at Ascot at the end of April, and we'll give him a nice easy introduction back into the 2011 flat season, and we'll be building him up to peak fitness probably 2 or 3 runs into his season. We'll give him a nice little introduction at Ascot, and it'll be a nice day out as well. And there are shares still available in Sohcahtoa. It's a fantastic proposition this year. We really think he's going to return us some prize money, and like I said, we'll give him an easy introduction, and we'll build him up probably to Newmarket in May. And there's a race there that he came second in last year, and he really loves Newmarket, and we'll have him spot on for that day, and we'll let you know how training progresses here. But this is as far as we've got so far, and we'll be back with some more updates as we go along. Now they're just going to head back now to the yard. They're done for the day. He's working nicely, and fingers crossed the next 4 or 5 weeks goes to plan, and he's going to make a very nice horse for the season. If you'd like to buy a share in Sohcahtoa, there are still shares available, and for more information visit the website www.pinehurstracing.co.uk, and we hope you join us. It's going to be a great season, and we've nearly sold out this syndicate, but it's going to be great fun, and we're going to have a great day out for our first run as well. We've got a private box at Ascot, and we hope you come and join us, and we're looking forward to a long and prosperous season.